how to pick a responsive, safe supplier that's going to give you the highest quality product. Let's go. Hello, it's Karina again. Welcome back to my daily uploads Amazon FBA channel. We're going to be talking about suppliers and how to pick the right ones, how to know which ones you should trust and which ones you should do business with. And this topic is really, really important. I get a lot of questions about this all the time because people go back and forth with their suppliers, and a lot of the times they really make it harder than it should be because they didn't do the work up front and making sure they find someone to work with that they actually trust and that can deliver. Because if you're having a difficult time communicating, then it's really going to make your business much harder, especially if you are reordering from them consistently and constantly. It's quite a lot of work. If you are a student of my Amazon FBA course, I literally make the process so easy for you, and you know that. What I do is I provide my students with templates on how to initially contact them and pretty much the whole process of how to talk to them to build that relationship up front, to present yourself as a serious buyer so they don't think that you are some low-level seller that's just in it for a few units and then going to peace out, right? It's really important to present yourself as an important person that is looking for long-term business with them, and just set that up front without any like misunderstandings later down the road. And then I also teach my students how to negotiate for pretty much anything, like a lower MOQ to save the most money, and a better pricing and better lead time, packaging, everything, just cool stuff. So if you're interested in that, all the link to my course is down below. But today we're going to be talking about how to actually validate and, you know, make sure that they're actually good suppliers to work for. And I'm going to give you a quick little rundown of what I look for when I talk to suppliers. So obviously we're going to be going on Alibaba, my computer right now, and show you Alibaba. So we are just going to look for something. So I'm just going to jump into Alibaba, and we're just going to look for something random such as a scooter, just so we could pull up some suppliers. So yeah, we're just gonna go with scooters, and I'm gonna show you what I look for on this right hand side. That is actually quite important. So there's a few things that show up, right? When I first put in the item I want, say I'm sourcing a scooter, I'm going to also select trade assurance and verified supplier. So trade assurance is basically a third middleman type of holding thing of your payments. So whenever you pay them through Alibaba, until they actually deliver on what they promised, the money won't get sent to them. And if you ever are stuck in a predicament where you needed to do something or they didn't follow up on their word, then trade assurance kicks in and you can get your money back. Verified supplier basically doesn't hold as much weight to trade assurance. They basically pay a fee to Alibaba to be like a verified supplier, which I guess kind of shows more that they care since they're verified, but this just gives you a higher chance of actually finding a good supplier, so it narrows people down. Then what I like to do is look on the right hand side right here, and it shows a few things right here, right? This is the years they've been in business, this is their response rate, this is the amount of money that they have done, and then their reviews, right? So you want to take this into account as well. The first thing I look for is their response rate, because if it's very low, then I'm not that interested, because that means they're ignoring most people. But if it's like 80, 85 and above, then that's generally okay, because keep in mind, the suppliers do get a lot of spam throughout the year, throughout the day, of not serious sellers. Just it's a big platform that's known internationally, so they get a lot of random inquiries from people. So sometimes it might be spam that they're not replying to, and that's going to register. But if they are just ignoring everyone, even serious buyers, that just means that they are not responding to you, right? Then it comes down to the revenue. So this is all relative. Depending on the niche you're in, maybe it's a new emerging niche or a really cheap item that they're not doing millions of dollars in sales of, but this is good to keep in like relative, right? So if you're comparing this supplier to this supplier, well, these are two different things, but let's just pretend that they're the same for the sake of the video. This person hasn't done any revenue. This person is doing 200,000. So clearly, I would probably trust the person that has been doing more in revenue than the other one, just because it shows me that they have done business before and they know what they're doing. So there's not a particular number that I look for in this, but I just compare it to basically the market average. So if one person is doing, I wouldn't necessarily say I go after the highest one, but I definitely like to stay in the middle to high range, as opposed to someone who's doing like $10,000 in transactions while everyone else is in like 200,000 or 100,000, right? I try to go for that middle ground. And then the reviews obviously is the reviews that the person is leaving, such as we. Obviously the higher the better. Like I would pick someone, like for some reason this person has 4.8 and this has 3.7, and they've done relatively the same amount in transactions. So they have 210,000, they have 200,000. They are pretty much a 1.1 points higher, which is high. Like they're almost at 5 stars, and this person's only at 3.7, and they have a pretty much a 10% higher response rate, and they've been in business for a year longer. So I would probably go with this person for obvious reasons, and they have more reviews at a higher rating, right? So that tells me something. Whether they're, you can read through them, but I mean it's not necessary. I mean they probably have a lower rating for some reason, we're not sure what. But I would actually say that the biggest indicator for actually picking suppliers, aside from just kind of looking at the criteria firsthand like that, and that could paint a picture for you before you even talk to them, but once you're actually communicating with them, the number one thing for me is that they actually reply to me in a timely manner, and that they're communicating with me professionally. So this is all in my templates. I teach you, if you're in my course, on how to put that professionalism forward to really get the best deals. Because if you're coming off as a non-serious seller and you're not professional, you're not working on building that relationship up front, trust me, you are not gonna get the best deals. And people can argue this with me all day long, but I have tried this, and if you're just trying to get snippy little answers and responses, it's just not gonna go well for you. You have to kind of come off in a structured way and always uphold that professionalism. And then later down the road, you can be slightly more casual, but still keeping that like friendly, professional relationship barrier with them. But what I was saying is, if they take forever to reply to me, if they are clearly on work, like on working hours, and keep in mind you're obviously on a different time schedule, so keep that in mind, and like their weekends are slightly different, and sometimes they might have holidays. But if they are like on shift and the factory is open and the person is online, or you know they've read your message, or they haven't even read your message and it's been like a long time, over 24 hours, then that like puts skepticism inside me, because I'm like, I don't know, like what if I need production later and they just decide not to reply to me for like 48 hours, but that's me losing lead time, and that's just too much of a risk, and I don't want to deal with that. So you can immediately tell when you contact suppliers, and I like to contact like at least 15 factories when I'm sourcing a product, maybe like 12 actually. Like 12 is a good amount, like 12 and 20 max. 20 is like really pushing it, but you really see the responses in people, because a lot of the times they might say, hey, great, let me get back to you, you know, and if that's the case and they never get back to you, then that's kind of alarming, and then I don't want to deal with that. And then if they get back to me like way later, I just don't even like deal with that, because it's not good for business. So that's that. And then also the way they reply. So if I ask them a lot of questions and they skip a few and only answer the ones they want, I will re-ask again. And if they keep dodging questions, or they keep delaying, or not, or answering like very, very short, then that's also alarming. Like, and you will see if you have negotiated with them, or if you're going to, you will instantly see the difference, because when a factory is serious, they will reply to your template, which again, I have templates, and they will like literally reply number by number and with a bunch of detail and send you photos, everything you ask for. But if they're not serious, they're just gonna say so. In a nutshell, those are pretty much the most important things I look for when I am about to do business with a supplier. And the most important thing is being, of course, that they have a good quality product and that they're actually responding to me in a lot of detail. So that's going to be it for this video. All the links that I mentioned are down below, and I will see you next time.